Uh-oh.
Okay, we'll start with this. What is the mandated WBO super flyweight title fight between Mizuki Hiruta of Japan, the champion, and Carla Merino of Argentina, the challenger. The letter from the WBO went out a few days ago. Negotiations. WBO Female Junior Bantamweight Mandatory Championship Contest, Mizuki Hiruta versus Carla Merino. Please be advised that the parties herein have 15 days to negotiate and reach an agreement regarding the subject matter bout. Failure to comply with the time period granted herein will result in the committee ordering purse bid proceedings per WBO rules and regulations. The minimum acceptable bid in all WBO Female World Championship fights is $25,000. Any of the parties may request purse bid proceedings at any stage of the negotiations. Lastly, this committee reserves its right to render any further rulings due necessary, helpful, and convenient to accomplish purposes, policies, and the intent of the WBO rules and regulations, including serving those interests that best serve boxing and the WBO Junior Bantamweight Division. Yours truly, Luis Batista Salas,
CC, Gustavo Olivieri, Esquire, WBO President.
This is one of the first, if not the first, mandate that has come down since Gustavo became president. Mizuki Hiruta sports a professional record of 6 wins with no losses, no draws, 2 recorded knockouts. The least experienced champion of the 4 reigning champions in today's super flyweight division. Her mandatory challenger, Carla Merino, sports a professional record of 16 wins with 2 losses, no draws, 4 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 18 professional bouts. Needless to say, a more experienced fighter all around, overall, in the paid ranks with more fights, more rounds in the bank, knows how to win a fight, knows how to rebound from it.
From a loss.
Last in action in November of this year. She actually fought 3 times this year. It was a productive year for Carla.
That fight was just a few days ago, just about a week.
Just about. She knocked out Roxana Bermudez of the Fighting Bermudez sisters. There's Evelyn, there's Daniela, and then there's Roxana. Roxana has not had the same success in her boxing career that her 2 younger sisters have had. Carla stopped her. Will Mizuki Hiruta be her next victim? Mizuki Hiruta, who already seems to have a fight on schedule for next year, early next year, on the 17th, and I'm going to assume that's the Carla Merino fight. Set to go down as part of a Tom Loeffler 360 promotion show via UFC Fight Pass. Tom Loeffler, often described as one of the good guys in boxing, one of the honest guys. Remember, he's the one who got Gennady Golovkin to all his fame, all of his fortune. Would seem that Mizuki Hiruta has paired up with Tom Loeffler and veteran trainer Manny Robles. She's been training in America, and she's set to make her U.S. debut. A recent post from the reigning champion ahead of her next fight: Manny invited me to Guadalajara, Mexico, and I'll be back in L.A. in a week. I'm training at Rafael Espinosa's gym. I'm so impressed. Everyone is so kind and full of love. Gracias. It would seem that Mizuki hopes to gain exposure to that Mexican style of fighting. Mexican fighters, their toughness, their inside game,
The pressure.
it actually suits Mizuki Hiruta, this pairing, this endeavor, because she's an action fighter and a strong puncher. Though with only 6 professional bouts, her inexperience, it is concerning. It is an issue, because Carla does have a lot more fights than she does. Twice as many.
18 to Mizuki's 6.
That's more than half. And many of the girls that Mizuki has fought so far, 5 out of the 6, these are domestic level girls. girls from around the way, save Casey Morton, who she knocked out in one round. This is the first Argentinian fighter that Mizuki will have faced as a professional.
The talent is there, and the ability is there, just not the pro experience. Though she's not a newbie to the sport of boxing, Mizuki actually started boxing in her high school years.
The concern is that she's only got 6 professional fights. Of the 6, she's only ever gone 10 rounds once, and she'll be facing a seasoned Argentinian veteran, a slugger. You know how tough those Argentinians can be. I have to admit that I do have a vetted interest in Mizuki's success. She's a colorful character, memorable.
Fun to watch.
So I am nervous for her ahead of this fight. I get the sense that broadening her horizons the way that she has, coming to America, training in LA and in Mexico, she's a good student. She wants to soak it all up.
Be a sponge.
You don't come all this way to do things the way you've been doing them.
The same old thing.
You don't travel this far. That shows commitment, that she's willing to do that because there's an obvious language barrier. I've never actually heard her speak English or Spanish. Every time I've seen her, she's just speaking Japanese. So just imagine how daunting that is, traveling to a foreign country where you really don't speak the language, but you're trying to soak up as much as you can. She's not out here to waste time. Hers or anyone else's.
I get the sense she's a good student. I only wonder if this pairing has happened soon enough that she will have learned enough from Manny in her corner that she's ready for Carla.
Let's hope, because I actually want her to win. I want her to stay champion. I don't know if she can. We'll talk more about the fight as the fight date approaches. Men's lightweight news. Will Vasyl Lomachenko fight again? Money is not the motivation.
You know that. He passed on fighting Gervonta Davis, which would have been the biggest money fight in this division.
Retire as a champion or pursue a unification against Gervonta Tank Davis next year. The decision remains in possession of Vasyl Lomachenko as his 37th birthday nears in February. Lomachenko, 18-3 with 12 KOs, is settled in a war-torn Ukraine with his wife and 2 children, nearly 6 months removed from his 11th round TKO win over George Cambodia in Australia.
7 months now, 7 going on 8.
To claim the IBF lightweight title, and just more than 3 months since deciding not to meet unbeaten WBA champion Gervonta Davis this year. We know that there was some obvious angling there, that for years Gervonta Davis avoided this fight. He waited for Vasyl Lomachenko to get older, to get slower, less inspired, so that when Vasyl Lomachenko is thinking about retiring, that's when Gervonta wanted to fight him, when he's just not as motivated and passionate about the sport. It's obvious angling.
There's absolutely no way to know what he'll do. And if you asked me right now what he's doing, I'd say, I don't know.
Top-ranked chairman Bob Arum said of Lomachenko's choice between retiring or coming back. Lomachenko manager Aegis Climax revealed the boxing scene on Monday that Lomachenko has experienced back pain in recent weeks and is going to be examined by a physician.
Gradual decay of time catches up to us all, even an Olympic double gold medalist.
The decision to retire, the fight again, hasn't been made yet. But if there's one thing I can tell you, money is not the motivation for Lomachenko, Klimas said. While Arum remains firmly on the fence, there is increasing sentiment within the top-rank walls that Lomachenko is leaning towards retirement. The matter was brought to light as 2 other top-rank representatives discussed the futures of the company's unbeaten lightweight contenders, Keyshawn Davis and Raymond Muratalla.
In the IBF's current rank standings, Russia's own Zaur Abdullaev is the highest ranked contender.
Ranked right behind him is Keyshawn Davis, but we know that Keyshawn is going the WBO route, so that rules him out. Ranked behind Keyshawn is Raymond Muratalla. So, if Vasyl Lomachenko decided to retire today, the vacant title would likely be contested between Zaur Abdullaev and top ranks Raymond Muratalla. Now, anyone who's level-headed can understand Vasyl Lomachenko's indecisiveness. Is he really ready to call it a career, or does he want one more crack at the apple, one more big fight, big night?
That fight was 7 going on 8 months ago. That knockout went over George Kambosos. And immediately after that fight, Vasyl Lomachenko let it be known he wants to retire. He only came back and won a title for his father's sake. in his father's honor because he wanted him to.
That's what he said right after the fight. That's what he said right after he knocked him out. So we know that he's not motivated as he used to be. What does that say? That an unmotivated Vasyl Lomachenko still had enough left in the tank to stop a guy that Teofimo Lopez couldn't stop, Devin Haney couldn't stop.
Wow.
A top-rank official told Boxing Scene that if Lomachenko retires, Keyshawn Davis will likely go after Denis Berinchyk and the WBO title, and Muratadya would seek the vacant IBF title against fellow contender Zaur Abdullayev, who's ironically managed by Igis Klimas. The manager said Lomachenko feels the tug of remaining home, to be present for his family and Ukraine as a war zone as a result of the Russian invasion. Lomachenko still has war duties in the army to honor, and he finds fleeting peace by fishing in his homeland.
Arum declined knowledge of the Davis to WBO, Muratadya to IBF strategy, but he praised both fighters.
Well, that's fine if he wanted to deny it. We got confirmation from Keyshawn a few days ago that his very next fight is gonna be Denis Berinchyk, and you can see on the IBF's ranked standings how that cookie's gonna crumble. So you don't need to hear it from Bob if you're observant.
Muratadya is a courageous warrior. Keyshawn will be the face of boxing, as you've seen from his 2-day sellout in Norfolk.
His highlight reel knockout win over Gustavo Lemos. Those reading the tea leaves around Lomachenko say he looked drained and content while defeating Kambosos to possibly cap a career that included 397 amateur fights, including 2 Olympic gold medals and a decade-long pro career that forced him to prepare for 20 of 21 bouts that were scheduled to go 12 rounds, on the heels of narrow title losses to Teofimo Lopez
And Devin Haney.
That one was a robbery, the latter of which left him emotionally crushed. Lomachenko could opt to leave his beloved sport on top, wearing a belt, rather than risk a night with the powerful Gervonta Davis 30-0 with 28 KOs over Hammeneggers and guys who are just not good enough.
Enough about him.
Boxing screwed over Vasyl Lomachenko, some would say more than once, but the loss to Devin, that one really hurt him. But it didn't just hurt him, it hurt this division.
It hurt the sport.
Nothing good came from Devin Haney being awarded that decision that he so clearly didn't deserve, booed by the audience in attendance, and so many at home calling it a daylight robbery, giving Devin that decision. It would have been better if Lomachenko had won.
More encouraging.
If Loma retires, there's a part of me that'll be happy he didn't fight Tank, one boxing official said. It was kind of a bitch move by Tank to refuse to fight Loma for so long and then cherry pick him at 36 or 37. It's like Lomachenko saying, no, you had your chance.
Hit the bricks.
Davis has settled for a long shot junior lightweight champion in Lamont Roach Jr.
Good luck selling that shit for $80 a pop.
They had to move off of a discussed December 14th spot in Houston, according to multiple sources who say fan disinterest is one of the reasons for the shift. Klimas said guessing what Lomachenko will do is an exercise in speculation, even for me. Maybe he'll change his mind and fight. Last time against Kambosos, people were saying he'd retire, and he changed his mind. Called me and told me he wants the fight. It's hard to say what will happen. Arum said he's going to remain flexible until he hears from Lomachenko.
He's done extremely well in keeping his money, taking care of his family, and he has all of his faculties. He's accomplished all he wants from a professional career. I'm very happy with that. Of course, if he wants to come back and fight, God love him, and we will help him with his next fight.
Can't blame Vasyl Lomachenko for being disillusioned, disheartened, so close to that last brass ring, that goal of becoming an undisputed champion, just to be robbed by the judges. That's where some of the malice towards Devin Haney comes from. People blame him.
That's one of the worst robberies these 60-year-old eyes have ever seen.
So that when Ryan goes in there and beats the brakes off of him, irrespective of what the circumstances were, people call that karma.
Kismet.
It came back around for Devin. What happens now with Loma, he's still a champion, and even though you can't blame him for being disheartened, he is holding up this division. He is a world champion. He's got a belt.
That comes with responsibilities. That does come with expectations. It's not just a title.
It's got duties. It's been 7 going on 8 months. Is he gonna make up his mind?
How much more grace are we expected to give him?
And so as a result of Vasyl Lomachenko's indecision, this has incurred the wrath of his fellow champion and former Toprank alum, Shakur Stevenson, who says, not gonna lie, Vasyl Lomachenko is scared of me. Soft ass needs to retire if he doesn't want the big fights no more.
So you can imagine, he's extra upset. He's extra mad because now he knows he won't be fighting William Zepeda as part of a Riyadh season show early next year.
Twitter user that goes by the name God Comics said, please go after Raymond Muratalla, Shakur Stevenson, to which Shakur responded, tell Bob Arum to send him my way. I would literally fight anybody. It doesn't matter. And frankly, Shakur, if you wanted access to top-ranked fighters, you shouldn't have left Top Rank.
Not because I feel that they should keep them from you. I don't feel that they should, but they're going to prioritize their fighters and what fights they can make for their fighters. You're not one of them.
Top-ranked matchmaker Bruce Trampler said, none of us should mandate who a great fighter and promoter like Oscar De La Hoya puts his fighters against, since we don't know the purse offers, or location, or weight, or weigh-in time, or what organization, etc. Let Oscar do what's best for his boxer. That's his job.
And that's all bullshit.
Because the story's supposed to be William is injured. Injured. That's the story. The stuff you're talking about sounds like duck talk. It sounds like underneath it all, you know they're avoiding a fight with Shakur Stevenson, and you're giving them a pass. Most of what you mentioned, we actually do know. We do know the location, we do know the weight, we do know the organization.
We don't know the exact dollar amount, but we do know that the Saudis would be paying for it, and that's the best money in boxing right now.
Shakur Stevenson responded by saying, ah shit, the guy from Top Rank is here to speak up for Oscar just because the company is still anti-Shakur, but you should stay out of it and mind your business. It has nothing to do with Top Rank, old fart. To which Bruce responded, Shakur calls Top Rank anti-Shakur even though we offered him the best deal of his career when our contract expired. Not very respectful to a fellow Newark native, to which Shakur replied, and I appreciated the deal that was offered. Money was not the issue. The energy y'all gave off is the reason why we are here, but I was being respectful. I just respectfully told you to mind your business.
Seems like Shakur is still blaming Top Rank for what people say when they call him boring.
That's your biggest problem. There's only so much promotion can do when your performances do more to put people to sleep sitting ringside than the guy in the ring with you.
The skinny.
Shakur is a boring fighter, and that's nobody's fault but his, though at the same time, 2 wrongs don't make a right, and Williams shouldn't avoid him. He should take him on and get rid of this kid. Shut his mouth.
Talks too much.
He's Billy Badass outside of the ring, but if only he would fight that way, then maybe people would like him more.
You'd think he were Rambo the way he carries on.
You're a safety-first fighter, a cautious fighter. You're not the Billy Badass you make yourself out to be. You're talented, you're good
at what you do.
But save all the tough talk, because you're not actually about the tough man contest. You don't even fight that way.
Okay, Billy Badass, or should I say Billy Brittlehands?
It's what makes it all the more annoying that William Zepeda is avoiding this kid, because you're really not under much threat of being knocked out by the resident pillow fists of Newark, New Jersey.
William posted an image of his arm in a sling
and some long-winded explanation for this convenient injury that he has suffered that will see him skip out on Shakur Stevenson and come back against somebody else, because you know that he will. He's not fighting Shakur. Spare me your annotations, because I don't believe him. I don't believe William. I don't believe his story, or Oscar, or any of them. This is a duck. That's what it is to me. Plain and simple. I don't care if you like him. I don't care if you sat behind him in math class, or if you fly the same flag, if he lived down the street from you. None of that matters to me.
It's a duck.
You follow this channel. You've heard me say it on repeat in video after video that I didn't trust that Oscar would make this fight. Now it would seem he's not making it because William is injured.
Oh, bullshit.
Whole thing is frustrating because Shakur by himself is a boring pillow-fisted fighter with brittle hands, and William, while he's more fun to watch, he's a ducker.